match where they got 2 tire irons in their hands, beating us in the head, and we're almost beating them. Everybody's rooting for us. People ask, why haven't they killed Alex Jones? They've tried to kill my name. They've tried to destroy my credibility. They've tried to do it all, but the system knows they kill people like me or Ron Paul. It underlines, it highlights, it exclamation points everything we've said. And they still might do it, or some nut could, but whatever the case is, I love life so much that it isn't even in the equation, because I'm totally committed to beating these people, because they've got to be beaten. The truth is, all this worldly, empty scum is weak and scared. These people are so weak, these globalists, these sellouts, the minions of this system, that they are totally obsessed with how they look, what people think about them, with fake status. They get off on it. They are living an illusion. They are the most vapid, unhappy people ever. And as we in the liberty movement gain steam, more and more of them are going to basically defect. And that's our problem. The emperor does not have any clothes. Because then they'll try to get us to compromise. We cannot compromise with corruption and despotism. That is what has gotten us to this point. Continuing with solutions. I've got almost a paragraph down here. Then I'll race to the rest of it later. Look at how 15 years ago or so, you couldn't find organic food anywhere unless it was some hole-in-the-wall health food store. Now, all the major grocery stores are trying to imitate the big mega Whole Foods places. And they're trying to come in and actually adulterate and infiltrate that. And people are like, well, we demanded organic, so they changed the guidelines so they could feed us GMO. Exactly. We start winning on that front, they counterattack. We fight back. They counterattack. We fight back. We're pushing them back. On the victim disarmament front of the Second Amendment, on every issue, the numbers show we are turning the tide, and the system is panicking, and that's why they're so dangerous right now. They are so freaked out that all the trendies and people are waking up and buying firearms. I got to tell you, every liberal I've known, so-called liberal, is becoming a real liberal. Because a real liberal is like Thomas Jefferson, wants freedom, wants the Second Amendment, wants property rights, wants individual freedom, make your own choices, let others live like they want to live. And what's happening is liberals are discovering real classical liberalism. And conservatives are discovering classical liberalism, and they're discovering that they've been given a fake tyrannical version. I love these talk show hosts who I hear national hosts are saying, I heard this week, get rid of posse comitatus, get rid of habeas corpus, arrest anyone who's against an Iran attack, get rid of the Bill of Rights, that will protect us. I mean, I'm hearing just absolute tyranny because they're freaking out. I hear these talk show hosts who write books about liberty and defending the Constitution, and then they call for arresting people that disagree with war. Again, liberty is so popular that these globalists are now trying to talk and speak like us, at least on the surface, which is another major sign of our victory. I'm not taking questions yet, bro. Continuing here, well, I'll turn into a free-for-all. Anyways, continuing here, you all know what, again, 5 years ago, did anybody anywhere know what BPA was, bisphenol A? Out of thousands of different plastic combinations that they could come up with a formulation, these big mega corporations, more than 60 years ago, standardized and had oil companies give incentives for the chemicals to base most of the plastics that you get water in or cook TV dinners in, you name it, in a chemical that leaches estrogen mimickers that accelerates puberty in women, gives them breast cancer, gives men prostate cancer. This is all admitted now. And feminizes men, hyperfeminizes women, reduces fertility in men and women. That's why you got 5-year-old girls going into puberty now. One of the big reasons is bisphenol A. First it was girls go at 14, then it was 11, then it was 10, then it was 9. And it's like, well, 6 is the new 14 now. And we're just, oh, that's completely normal. And I remember 5, 6, 7 years ago, I remember 15 years ago talking about bisphenol A with doctors I was having on. People were like, you're saying the government has a toxic chemical in my plastic. Let me tell you something. The FDA cares about me, and you're a liar. I used to get calls going, I'm calling the police. There's no, how could you be allowed on this local station? There's no way they'd be doing that. I'm like, okay, do you have a daughter, sir? Well, yeah. And she's in puberty at 10 years old. You're just angry that this happened. Don't be angry at me. Get her off of it. Because when these girls go to the doctor, or your son when he's 14, his testicles haven't dropped yet. I'm sorry to get gross there, but that's what's going on. The doctors say, we're going to give you these hormones to counterbalance this instead of telling you why you've got a problem. When breast cancer's up over 2,000%, the U.S. leads the world. Before it was almost unknown. Now it's like Christmas coming around. You got your breast cancer. I mean, I've got family with it. It's horrible. It's destroying us. And they never ask, hey, race for the cure. How about race for the cause? Because let me tell you, it's one thing when men in your family die, because they're men, it's sad they die. But man, it's horrible when women in your family, you know, or got people chopping on them and cutting on them or dying and been put in the ground because a bunch of pieces of murdering trash jacked them with a bunch of hormones to screw them up. That's why I hate the globalists. Because I'm constantly thinking about all the stuff they've done to me and the stuff they've done to you. And it's time for Judgment Day. It's time for men to stand up and say, I don't care what you do to me. I'm coming for you and I'm going to get you. So get ready. It's just time to decide. We're going to politically and intellectually stomp your New World Order into the ground, and we're going to start spreading the word. We're not going to even worry about results. We're going to start clobbering your ass. Excuse me. Almost a third of the way down one page. Continuing here. So, BPA, just in the last 5 years, you go to Walmart, Target, whatever the grocery store is, the bottles you buy at the store, it's, hey, we're BPA free. Oh, hey, we're Pyrex glass. Just 5, 6 years ago, they would do articles making fun of people saying it was a conspiracy theory. But actually, people actually went and read all the admitted literature. The universities, they're not all traitors. They're all scared. You know, Rob Dew's brother is a graduate student at a university in Texas to be a statistician. And whatever the demographic deal is where you study the elderly, what's that called? Geriatricus or whatever it is. But the point is, and he came over to be on the TV show because he'd taken public big Pew Research and other studies showing that Ron Paul was getting the least amount of media coverage and debates and negative coverage, but was also a front runner, the polls showed, and a big index of those. And when he went back to graduate school a week later, they called him in and said, you're not supposed to go out and talk in the media. And he said, well, this is a university. People go out who are graduate students and talk all the time. And they said, we don't want you to. You want that PhD? This is America. And he said, well, why? I just went and showed statistics from another big study. And they said, you're not going to stop any of it. You don't have any power. I mean, imagine the professor is so empty and so sold out. I don't want you going on a TV show because I'm a control freak maggot. That's who we've got trying to tell us what we can say and do. How about shut up, you un-American, anti-human piece of trash, you shameful authoritarian that's so comfortable in your jackbooted thugism that you tell somebody they don't have a First Amendment. How about you shut up? How about you get out of our way? I mean, how much of this are we going to put up with when these control freaks get in our face and tell us what we can say and what we can do? I see these articles all the time where they, in the U.S., Canada, you name it, a child draws a picture of a gun, and then they say, they go arrest the parents. There isn't even a law, and say, well, we had to, emergency situation. There might have been guns the kids could get to because the child drew an image of a gun. All of us here drew images of guns when we were a kid. It's all over TV. It's everywhere you draw it. You draw everything. It's a thought crime. But the way the system is trying to sell us on this idea that our speech is bad. I see articles every few months where English students write fiction articles in school or even college, or historical, about gun battles or the Civil War, and the police are called. I mean, that's worse than 1984. This is what America is, where professors tell people, you don't have free speech, shut up. Besides, you're not going to change any of it. It's this attitude by all these people that serve the system. They don't even like the system, but they have this attitude of, you've got to give up like I've given up. You've got to roll over like I've done. You've got to be a horrible piece of garbage. The blueprint to defeat the New World Order is to stop listening to their con game that we can't be freer. Now, I covered some of the solutions and some of the victories we're having when I was on the radio, but going back to fluoride for a moment, all over Europe, all over England, all over the UK, all over Canada, all over the US, how many miles away is Tampa, Pinellas County? 90 miles from here, Tampa, Florida, beautiful city on the sea. That entire county, 1 million people. And they just brought in the government's own documents about fluoride being deadly poison, and they voted to stop paying hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to put toxic waste agents into the water supply. And it's happening all over the United States and Canada and Europe.